Keeping safe is not hard. Wear a mask, social distance, sanitize, and tanner your yard. Why? Just consider more than 1,500 cases in 2 days. Hospital bed shortage. Let that sink in. Hi there. This is Jamaica Magazine and I'm Adrian Atkinson, encouraging you to follow the protocols. Stay with us. We have lots more in store just for you.
Agriculture and fisheries is big business. Get formalized this year. Be among 100 farmers and fisheries producers who will benefit from a developmental project funded by the International Labour Organization and implemented by the Government of Jamaica. Whether you're male or female, we want to help you. Young farmers, there's a special place for you too. Apply at any RADA or JBDC office island-wide and jbdc.net. Deadline March 22. Agriculture and fisheries is big business.
Good day, I'm Lorraine Mendez and this is your JIS News for Tuesday, March 9. The Ministry of Health and Wellness will begin the rollout of its COVID-19 vaccination program on March 10. This follows the arrival of 50,000 doses of the AstraZeneca vaccine yesterday, which are a gift from the Government of India. Approximately 3,280 doses will be distributed among public health workers on March 10 and more than 47,000 persons over the next 3 weeks. These include members of the Jamaica Constabulary Force and the Jamaica Defence Force, along with persons in the 60 and older age group. At a press conference last evening, it was revealed that by May this year, the government would have acquired a total of 974,000 vaccines. The overall procurement is approximately 4 million doses, and Prime Minister Andrew Holness says budgetary allocation has been made.
I want to assure the nation, your government is acting with the highest level of responsibility in this regard. Before we take on any vaccine, we have to be sure of its safety and efficacy.
Health and Wellness Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton has confirmed that the UK variant strain of COVID-19 is in Jamaica. Minister Tufton says 7 samples from a randomly selected batch came back positive from the Caribbean Public Health Agency CARPHA on March 6. The samples, which were sent in January, were from persons with no history of travel.
The positive samples came from the parishes of St. Catherine, St. James, Clarendon, Kingston and St. Andrew and Trelawney. What this confirms to us in public health is that the UK variant strain is present in our population.
Minister Tufton says more testing and work will be done to assess the features of the UK variant strain, which is believed to be a possible source of the current rate of spread of the virus among the population.
We are moving to ensure that we have the necessary equipment to allow us the capacity to test for that variant strain. I understand from the technical personnel that we will need approximately 60 million Jamaican dollars to acquire certain pieces of equipment which will be lodged at the Public Health Lab, which will contribute to testing here in Jamaica for the presence of variant strains.
The health minister says government is also looking at sources other than CARPHA to do testing. He also assures that the vaccines being procured are effective in dealing with the variant strain. Meanwhile, as the country continues to see an increase in new COVID-19 cases, Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton is again calling on the public to adhere to the established safety protocols. In the last 24 hours, 561 new positive cases were confirmed and 6 deaths. There are currently 12,178 active cases with 14,595 recoveries.
There is a considered view that we will see high numbers over the next week or more, and we are hoping that we will begin to see a tapering off beyond that period as long as persons obey the protocols that have been established under the orders and the message that all of us in government have been preaching around mask wearing, sanitizing, and physical distancing.
Minister Tufton says also of concern to public health is the workplace cluster outbreak of COVID-19. He says the Kingston and St. Andrew Health Authority is managing 46 active clusters.
We feel that it is an indication that protocols at the workplace are not being followed diligently. And indeed, we want to remind employers, to the extent that you have to work from the workplace, that a review of those protocols be done to ensure that we minimize spread within that work environment.
Tourism Minister Edmund Bartlett says the new Edmund Ridge Estate housing development in St. James will facilitate infrastructure projects valued at approximately $437 million. This, he says, includes drainage works that will be done at a cost of $105 million. A water supply system will also be included to allow 750,000 gallons of water to be stored in tanks and be gravity-fed to the communities of Rhine Park, Barrett Town, Paisley and Spot Valley. This will cost $220 million. $112 million will be used to facilitate road rehabilitation works to start at Mount Zion and continue to the Spot Valley and Blyston communities.
So just with this development, separate and apart from it is going to provide some of the finest housing arrangement for more than 2,000 people in the area, and those who are going to come into the area to be part of this development, we are going to enable the community, the wider community, to benefit from a higher level of infrastructure development.
Minister Bartlett was speaking recently at the official launch of the first of 3 model housing units under Phase 1 of the project, named in his honor. The Registrar General's Department, RGD, will be prioritizing the addition of a civil registration number to its records in the 2021-2022 fiscal year. The move is part of the agency's modernization drive, which will complement the implementation of the National Identification System, NIDS. Chief Executive Officer Charlton McFarlane says the civil registration number will act as a unique identifier, making it easier to verify an individual's identity through vital events throughout their life course. Mr. McFarlane says background work has already started, with the implementation set to begin in early 2021-2022.
To date, the RGD does not have a comprehensive system of linking vital events. What do I mean by that? I mean that I am not able to say with 100% certainty that John Brown, born in 1920, got married in 1940 and died in 1980. Right, because the records are not uniquely linked by a unique number, by a unique identifier. Having seen this as a real and clear gap in civil registration worldwide, the RGD is now moving ahead.
And finally, Jamaicans seeking to access the services of the Registrar General's Department may soon find it easier to do so. This as discussions are far advanced with a bill payment agency to provide RGD services to customers. The agency's Chief Executive Officer Charlton McFarlane says once the agreement has been made, the RGD would have increased its access points to just under 200 locations.
The RGD has 10 locations island-wide. However, we are aware that that may not be enough, and again we understand that there's still a cost in terms of transportation costs to visit the RGD locations, and so we are in advanced discussions with a major bill payment agency to leverage their locations to offer RGD services.
And that's it for JIS News today. I'm Lorraine Mendez. Thanks for watching.
The numbers keep climbing, and yet some of you are still complaining about curfew times. Is that being selfish, or are you being smart? You continue to blame the government, stating they are not doing enough. But the big question is, are you doing your part to help decrease the spread? The unfortunate reality is that far too many people refuse to take the coronavirus pandemic seriously until they or someone they love gets infected. Now, this is what we do not want, and I don't believe I can stress this enough. Wear your mask, sanitize. Of course, we love to hug and socialize, but just ease off some of that right now. Not just for your safety, but but also for others. It looked hard for your relatives to be home doing all they need to in order not to catch the virus, and you out on the road being reckless and carrying it right home to them. Each one of us needs to help during this fight against COVID-19 as we work to make Jamaica the place of choice to live, work, raise families, and do business in a healthy environment.
Up next, Prime Minister Andrew Holness on the ground trying to spread the message of preventing COVID-19. That and more now.
Content water supply project to start soon. $62.4 billion being spent on housing. And Bunny Wailer remembered as reggae music standard bearer. You're watching Jamaica House Weekly. I'm Vaughn Davis. Prime Minister Andrew Holness says St. Catherine residents will soon have improved access to water and drainage. That's thanks to the Content Water Supply Project, which will soon get underway. The National Water Commission project will involve PVC pipe laying in the Rio Cobre River.
So it's not just laying the pipes, it is also building out the supply. And we are also looking at other areas in and around the corporate area and in St. Catherine, right across Jamaica actually, that will increase our water supply so that when we go into the dry months and we have an extreme shift in our rainfall, then we should be able to have our lives as we normally would expect it without the disruption of lack of water.
Prime Minister Holness says discussions on the project are now at the final stages, where it is to be signed off by Cabinet. Later in the week, word came that the Andrew Holness-led government would be spending $62.4 billion on housing activities in the 2021-2022 fiscal year. The figures are contained in the Jamaica Public Body's estimates of revenue and expenditure. The solutions will be delivered by the National Housing Trust and the Housing Agency of Jamaica. $57.72 billion will be used by the NHT to start 8,513 housing solutions, complete 7,043 units, and issue 12,083 new mortgages. The Housing Agency of Jamaica will spend $2.69 billion to deliver 2,977 housing solutions and accelerate the distribution of titles to regularize informal settlements. It's part of the state's 5-year plan to develop 70,000 new housing solutions.
And we are doing it in many ways. We are doing it in titling by going through and regularizing persons who have occupied lands but have no titles. We are doing it through the Housing Agency of Jamaica, regularizing communities that were informally settled. We are doing it again by the Housing Agency in bringing to market affordable and low-income housing solutions, and we are doing it by the NHT in providing support for the financial system for home ownership.
The public body's estimates for the 2021-2022 fiscal year also revealed plans to increase skills training on the island. 119,350 trainees are expected to be enrolled in the Heart NSTA Trust programs. Certification will be delivered to over 56,000 trainees, while nearly 21,000 will be placed in jobs.
Although face-to-face training has been suspended as a result of the pandemic, the agency has pivoted with the integration of distance learning methodologies and the implementation of 4 assessment centers in Kingston, Montego Bay, St. Anne, and Maypen to alleviate the assessment challenges and ensure that the institution is adhering to the social distancing protocols.
The Heart NSTA plans to focus on providing training in several key emerging skill areas. These include complex problem solving, critical thinking, cognitive flexibility, service orientation, judgment, and decision-making. Efforts will also be made to foster business and entrepreneurial growth through grant funding and incubation services. On Tuesday, Prime Minister Andrew Holness held virtual talks with the Jamaica Umbrella Group of Churches. Discussions centered on government's tighter COVID-19 measures, which put a ban on all physical church services from March 1 to 22. Churches will only engage in online services with a maximum of 10 persons to be present at the place of worship to facilitate online broadcasting. During the meeting, Mr. Holness expressed satisfaction with the level of cooperation and leadership displayed by the church community, saying churches had generally done well in abiding by the Disaster Risk Management Act. Tuesday also saw the Prime Minister expressing sadness at the death of legendary reggae singer-songwriter Neville Bunny Wailer Livingston. Livingston passed away in hospital at age 73. Mr. Holness said as a founding member of the Wailers, which included Bob Marley and Peter Tosh, Livingston was a long-time standard-bearer of reggae music who won the heart and soul of many across the globe. And that's how we close out Jamaica House Weekly. Be sure to join us next time for more of the news stories coming out of the office of the Prime Minister.
Recover with integrity. Recover with integrity. We should all work together. One aim, one vision. In the fight against corruption, there is no division. United with the Integrity Commission. Let's stand up and make a healthy decision that we will not turn a blind eye. We will not cheat secret lives. We will not accept no bribes. We will not push values aside.
A message from the Integrity Commission.
Thousands of agriculture and tourism workers are benefiting from a U.S. multi-billion-dollar project to ensure that their jobs remain intact as the country manages the pandemic. Find out now how that project is unfolding.
Now that we get these things to put in place, it's a good thing, so we are going to put them in place so we can get to open.
Since 2009, the government of Jamaica has formed a critical partnership between agriculture and tourism. And that partnership led to a World Bank finance program, as you heard before, that was known or is known as READY, Rural Economic Development Initiative. And the READY 1 program, which ended in 2017, ended with such success and momentum that the government saw it necessary to have a phase 2. The phase 2, of course, was approved late 2019, and despite our best laid plans, COVID came along and put not a stop, but made us change our perspective on a few things. This program, through Ready 2, will invest $52.4 million to support the base of the pyramid, persons, enterprises, micro enterprises, and that means small farmers, small community tourism enterprises, at the base of the pyramid that provide such a critical role when it comes to the supply chain. We will provide, under this investment, medical grade PPE, right, which will include masks, face shields, sanitizers, and all the necessary things that would be needed to apply the protocols required for small tourism enterprises. We will also provide to our registered farmers seeds, fertilizers, pesticides, fungicides, insecticides, and harvesting crates. We will also provide training of 60 COVID-19 safety point persons, 30 for tourism and 30 for agriculture.
This project seeks to combat some of the challenges presented by the COVID-19 pandemic, impacting the livelihoods of many of our farmers and persons in rural Jamaica. This program underscores that the government of Jamaica is serious about providing for our rural entrepreneurs. That's what our farmers are. They are rural entrepreneurs, and we are working with them to ensure that they can maintain their production numbers, sustain their farms, and partake in climate-smart agriculture, and more importantly, strengthen the linkages between agriculture and tourism.
This exercise that we're involved in now, with Ready 2, is seeking to do, is to build our capacity to respond to the disruptions that the pandemic will cause. are not only to respond, but to manage, to recover, and to thrive. How do you enable the farmers to produce under COVID without getting COVID? And that's the essence of the capacity building exercise that we're talking about here.
Collecting this today, I can say I'm very appreciative because it can help when I'm having meetings. Most of us usually sell to middlemen who supply to the hotel, but we are having our housewives coming in, restaurants coming in, and supermarkets coming in. We still have a few middlemen that buy from us there still. We feel good because with JSIF and Ready 2 and TPD, we know that they're putting out the effort, and we've been with JSIF from Ready 1, like we were engrafted in, and we have been to several meetings with them, and they trained our staff in tour guiding and other aspects of things, a lot of training. So JSIF has been doing a good work.
This will help us to maintain the COVID-19 protocol that we are supposed to be practicing to ensure that our products are marketable in a safe environment.
We have single parents on the farm. We have persons who are unemployed other than the farm thing. So I know that the Ready tool is going to benefit them very greatly. Persons are aware of COVID-19, but some of them are not taking it real serious. So having these on the farm with us, I know that they will use it and use it to the best of their ability to prevent COVID.
Farmers will be trained in COVID-19 health and safety protocols, but also a number of the farmers will receive comprehensive training in their specialized area. Ladies and gentlemen, we have seen that when you provide technical support to our farmers do well. Our farmers are willing to modernize their operations, but they need the support. We're all doing this to ensure that the agriculture sector continues to grow.
Practice good hygiene by washing your hands frequently using soap and water. Here's how you should do it while conserving water. Turn on the tap to wet your hands, then turn off the pipe. Lather your hands and the tap with soap. Turn on the tap and wash your hands, back, front, and in between fingers. Use some of the water to wash off the tap, then turn it off. Dry your hands with disposable hand towels. If you don't have running water, use a hand rub containing 62% or more alcohol. If hand sanitizers are not available, rubbing alcohol, Dettol, white rum, or household bleach will do the trick. And if all else fails, let hand washing and the handling of potable water be a two-person event. Each person will take turns pouring and washing hands with sitting water. Now is a good time to consider installing a tap on your containers to reduce the risk of water contamination. Faucets can be easily attached to drums, buckets, or 5-gallon water bottles. And to ensure that the outside of the containers are clean when recapping, disinfect it with hand rub containing alcohol that's 62% or more. The 5 R's of water conservation are also necessary to practice. Reduce water wastage by investing in water-saving devices. Reuse water at least twice before discarding. Replace leaking pipes, faucets, and other plumbing equipment. Recycle wastewater and use it for gardening, car washing, or cleaning of public spaces. And reclaim water through rainwater harvesting. We all must play our part to ensure there's water to combat the coronavirus and stave off prolonged drought.
don't watch the news. The taxi is full and I don't want to catch corona.
You can't squeeze in yourself.
No, sir. It's okay. I'll wait. I have to protect myself from the coronavirus.
You're gonna be late for school anyway.
It's better to be late and safe. Just last month I was running down the stairs for classes, but my school has reopened. Are you going back to physical school too? Do you have to take public transportation? If you answered yes, I have some tips for you. Just a few guidelines to help you stay healthy and COVID-19 free while taking public transportations. First, remind mommy and daddy to check the news for any public transportation changes. Make sure you have your mask and sanitizer before you leave your house. Your sanitizer should have at least 60% alcohol. Also, bring extra masks in a clean and sealable bag. Make sure you wear your mask while on the road or in a taxi. I don't mean under your chin or below your nose. It should look like mine. It should cover your nose and mouth. Still practice social distancing. If a taxi has space to carry just 4 persons, it should carry 1 less. So you should be the 3rd person, not the 4th. Do not take off your mask in public. Always keep it on. Don't touch surfaces, but if you have to, wash your hands with soap and water. Take taxis or buses with the windows down so that there is proper ventilation. That means there is a steady flow of fresh air. As soon as you reach your destination, get out of the vehicle and go straight home. Don't stop to play with your friends. And when you get home, go straight to the bathroom to have a shower before touching anything or anyone. And also, if you are sick, just stay home. Yay! A taxi that's following COVID guidelines.
You've reached the final page of the magazine. Thanks so much for staying with us. Another one unfolds tomorrow, so come back same time on this same station. Until then, click on our website and YouTube channel for more informative features. While there, please subscribe to our pages and click that notification bell so you can stay in the know. And don't forget to reach out to us on social media. I'm Adrian Atkinson, encouraging you to think positive as you stay safe.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.